On a warm June evening in 1973, the suburbs of Westchester County felt peaceful in the way only summer nights can. Sprinklers ticked in the distance. Dogs barked occasionally. Lawnmowers had finally quieted down. And 14-year-old Erin Coughlin walked down Brookshire Lane with a small purse over her shoulder, heading to a babysitting job she'd taken dozens of times. Everyone on the street knew Erin. She was the kind of girl neighbors waved to automatically, the kid who helped carry groceries, who picked up mail when families were on vacation, and who never complained when asked to babysit on short notice. She was young, responsible, and kind. Parents trusted her without hesitation, and she took that trust seriously. The family she was babysitting for that night, the Harrisons, lived only 6 blocks away. Their 2 children adored Erin, often begging their parents to hire her again simply because she made bedtime fun. Erin arrived just before sunset. She smiled, thanked Mrs. Harrison for the lemonade she handed her, and stepped inside. It was all so ordinary, so routine, that no one imagined anything unusual could happen. When the Harrison parents left for their dinner reservation, the house remained quiet and warm. Erin helped the children brush their teeth, read them a chapter from their favorite book, and tucked them beneath their blankets. Once the kids were asleep, Erin gathered her homework from her purse but barely touched it. Instead, she settled onto the couch, switching on the television and waiting for the parents to return. Nothing seemed out of place. Nothing seemed wrong. But when the Harrisons came home shortly before midnight, they immediately sensed something strange. The house wasn't noisy or chaotic, quite the opposite. It was silent. The lights were still on. Erin's purse sat neatly on a chair. Her sweater hung on the back of the couch. Her shoes were still by the front door, just where she always left them. But Erin herself was nowhere to be found. The Harrisons checked the children. They were sleeping soundly. There were no signs of trouble in the hallway, kitchen, or living room. No broken windows. No open doors. Nothing missing. Nothing moved. Not a single sign of struggle, panic, or alarm. It was as if Erin had simply melted into the air. The police were called immediately, and officers arrived within minutes. They searched the house top to bottom, then spread their search to the yards, the street, and the nearby woods. Flashlights swept through bushes and tall grass. Neighbors came out of their homes still in pajamas, shocked to learn that the sweet babysitter they all knew had disappeared without a trace. By morning, the entire neighborhood was involved. Flyers with Erin's photo were printed and handed out across town. Search dogs were brought in but didn't pick up any clear trail. Helicopters circled overhead, scanning fields, rivers, and train tracks. 4 days, the community worked side by side with police, desperate to find her. But every promising lead fizzled out. A neighbor reported seeing a dark sedan circling the block earlier that night, but no one could identify the driver. Another person recalled seeing a man walking near the Harrison home around the time Erin disappeared, but his face was indistinct in the dim porch light. Some people wondered if Erin might have stepped outside for fresh air, or to check a noise, or simply because someone called her name. Others believed she could have been lured by someone she trusted, a neighbor, an acquaintance, or a familiar face. But without evidence, the theories went nowhere. It was like chasing smoke. Erin's family was devastated. Her mother refused to quit searching. She walked the neighborhood every day with a photograph in hand, asking if anyone had seen or heard anything new. Her father worked closely with detectives, making calls to police departments in other states, hoping Erin had been spotted somewhere far away. But the days turned into weeks, then months, until eventually the case shifted from an urgent search to a cold file sitting unanswered in a cabinet drawer. Years passed. The street changed. Families moved in and out of the neighborhood. The Harrison children grew older. But Erin's memory lingered. Her childhood bedroom in her own home remained untouched. The posters on the walls, the hair ribbons neatly lined on her dresser, the diary on her nightstand still open to the last entry she wrote before leaving for the babysitting job that night. 2 decades later, in the early 90s, a seasoned detective named Robert Kelton reopened the case during a review of unsolved disappearances. He became haunted by the eerie stillness of the crime scene. A babysitter vanishing while the children slept soundly only a few feet away was not typical. Something about the clean, untouched house suggested precision. Someone who knew how to enter quietly, how to avoid alarming the children, how to move without leaving a trace. Kelton interviewed old witnesses again. He tracked down former neighbors. He studied every inch of the case file. But despite his dedication, no new answers emerged. Erin's disappearance remained just as puzzling 20 years later as it had been on that warm summer night. Even today, decades after she vanished, the case of Erin Coughlin still echoes through true crime communities. No body was ever found. No suspect was ever arrested. No confession ever surfaced. For all the searching, questioning, and theorizing, the truth remains locked in time. What happened to Erin? Did she hear something outside and step out for a moment? Did someone pretend to be a friend or a family acquaintance? Was someone watching the Harrison home, waiting for Erin to be alone? Or was her disappearance planned by someone who knew she would be babysitting that night? The questions remain, suspended over the neighborhood where she vanished, like a silent reminder that even the safest places can hide the darkest mysteries. And somewhere out there, the truth still waits.